What's your birth date, Bill?
12/29/26. That makes me 92.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
Remember December 7th, 1941?
Yes, I do.
What do you remember about it?
Well, of course, back then we didn't have the communications that we have today. And it was nothing but a radio. And my father was listening to it. And he was crying. And I thought then, I didn't think too much of it back then. I was the farm, that was my major thing. That everybody was getting drafted, and so finally my time came up, and I thought I got to do something. I don't want to get drafted in the Army, so I went to the principal and said, I have to jump a year or I'm going to get drafted, and I want to join the Navy. Well, he said, it's all right by me. You have to go up and speak to Miss Quinlan. And I thought, oh my God, Miss Quinlan was terrible. She was so, everything was just right in all of her. She was the head of the library, and she was strict. And I went to her, and she said, that's fine, I'll help you all I can. And so I did it. I graduated a year early. And then I joined the Navy.
And where did you go to boot camp?
We went to Sampson. Sampson is by the Geneva Lake, on the Geneva Lake. Got cat fever, and I was sick in the hospital for 10 days. And I was lucky that I got out when I did, so I went back to my original group. We were put on a troop train. Well, first we went on Lehigh Valley to Buffalo. In Buffalo we put on a troop train, and nobody knew where we were going. Nobody knew. And some of the kids were crying, and oh, we're going to wind up in amphibs. And back then, I had no fear. I didn't care. I didn't have any fear. I didn't care. If we go to amphibs, okay. I'm fresh off the farm. Nobody could hurt me.
Yeah.
So we wound up down in Corpus Christi, Texas, a Naval Air Station. And I wound up at Waldron. I was surprised. This is a picture of, the kids just got me this picture.
Show me, okay, hold it up. Hold it up, okay.
It's SNJ. Put on the flight line, and they said, this is your plane to take care of. I was a 17-year-old kid, and here you are. They showed me how to make sure it was gassed up, make sure it had oil. Then I had to warm it up every morning. Whether we were flying or not, we warmed the plane up, and then if they were flying, then the pilot would come out and get in, and away it would go. But I was surprised. They taught me just about 1 or 2 times what to do.
So what kind of plane was it?
It was a trainer, advanced trainer.
Got it.
I was surprised that this plane was even manufactured and sent to England.
Wow.
For trainer.
So how long were you at Waldron?
About 3 months. Then it came out that they had a school going for radiomen. And so I went to the chief and asked him if I could go to school. And so he said, I'll get back to you. So then he said, yes, looked like you were qualified to do that. You can go. So then I went to the main base where I went to radio school.
And this again was at Waldron?
No, this was at main base.
Main base?
Yes.
Where was that located?
Right off Corpus Christi. We were taking code and blinker, learning to type. And first thing I know, I couldn't get the code and I flunked out. But then I took the test for aviation electrician and passed it. I don't know how to this day, but I passed it. So I was third class. Nope, I stayed right there all during the war. What it was when I signed up for duration in 6 months. And so all of a sudden the war is over, and they gave me, I was teaching a class in the lab at Corpus at the ground school, and that was the last thing I did. The only thing, when we went to Waldron, we first went there, this was a bunch of Marines, old salt Marines, and you know, Marines are stiffer than hell, but these were old salts and they were pretty well. They were nice to get along with. But the only thing I can remember is we had to learn to fold our blankets like the Marines did.
How did you learn about the end of the war?
There was one fellow by the name of Seda, went on leave and came back, and he was on leave when what they called VE Day. I said, that's all right, I'll go on vacation for VJ Day.
This bulletin, dated San Francisco, the Federal Communications Commission quotes Domai saying, Japan accepts allied terms.
And I'll be damned, I was home on VJ Day.
Here?
Yep.
I'll be darned.
I walked down to 3rd and Main, and everybody was just hooping it up. The war was over.
And you had your military outfit on? You had your Navy outfit on?
Oh yes, you had to have the dress uniform on. Today they don't do that, but back then you had to wear your dress uniform. Yes. Well, all I can remember is my sister and I walked down to 3rd and Main, and of course everybody, it was just like a holiday. People were all over the place.
So VJ Day, you're in Jamestown, and then you of course have to go back.
Oh yeah, I had to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And about that time, of course, then I only had 6 months to go. And all I can remember is I was, as I said, working a little bit here and there. And all of a sudden, one day the head officer of this ground school came to me and said, the main ad building says that we've got a aviation electrician over here working out a rate. We want to put him on an aircraft carrier. I said, a year ago I'd have loved that, but now I'm ready to go home. And that was the last I heard about that. Then time came, my points ran out, and I was sent to Camp Wallace in Galveston for discharge. I was discharged and came back to Jamestown.
You've been active in the American Legion and other...
Well, the American Legion was the only one that I was really active in.
Yep. How did you get involved in their ceremonial group?
Well, I think they called them M1 rifles. And these rifles were not firing right. And what they had done was they had welded these rifles up so they wouldn't be semi-automatic. And so they wanted them fixed, and oh, they were a mess. And so I had to cut the things apart with a hacksaw, and we got special adapters, and then I had to clean them out. I took a brass scouring pad to clean out the chamber. The thing was so full of dirt that they couldn't get the shell back out once they fired the thing. So we cleaned them out, and we got them things working like you can't believe. I don't believe after every, well, twice a year I would take them home, take them apart and clean them and put them back together again. And I don't believe they've been done like that since.
Yeah. Well, how long were you part of that group that did the ceremonies?
Well, I think I still belong.
Yep.
I'm a life member, so I automatically get my card, and it's been 37 years altogether now.
Wow.
That I belong to Legion.
Good for you. Yeah, I've always enjoyed you during the,
I like to fire.
yeah.
I fired, yes.
Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Half left. Think. Present. Turn.
Legacy of what your generation did during the war and its impact today. Do you think about that?
No, I don't. No. I think we were the greatest generation. I don't think we have the patriotism. Well, I know we don't have the patriotism that we had back then. And I think our people, our generation, well, to me, America is the greatest thing in the world. America is the greatest thing in the world. And here you have people that aren't standing up for the national anthem. They don't pledge allegiance to the flag, and to me, we saluted the flag every time it went by.
Sure.
You don't see that today.
Yeah. Well, we salute you, Bill. Thank you for all you do, have done, and
Well, I really didn't do anything in the war. I was there I would have done whatever they asked, but I really didn't do anything. So,
well, you're all part of that infrastructure. important stuff.
Mhm.